And the natural, pure nature of awareness is empty. Empty because there's no content. Awareness is not something you can grab hold of. Everybody in this room right now there is awareness happening. That's what's looking at me and listening and feeling, and that's what makes cognizing this whole experience possible. There is awareness. So for everybody in this room, awareness is there. And yet, even though it's there, it's so intimate to you, you can't grasp it, can you? You can't find it. You can't say, well, there it is, it's over there. Well, there it is, it's over there. Awareness just is. It's non-local. It's not localized somewhere. It just is. And so the nature of this is why we say awareness is empty. There is nothing to grab hold of. There is nothing to let go of. It's not in one location as opposed to another location. It's not inside your heart or inside your head or behind your head or under your feet. Awareness is. It's universal. And since there's no form to it, it's empty. Its nature is emptiness. Its nature, your nature, is also self-aware. I think in Tibetan Buddhism they call it awareness is cognizant, or there's a quality of lucidity, which means awareness is self-aware. It knows that it is. It's intelligent, in other words. These qualities are qualities that are so familiar. I mean, familiar, a lot of people don't notice them, but they're so familiar, people don't actually... They're so familiar that they're not noticed. See? They're so familiar that they're not noticed. That the mere fact that awareness can be self-aware is amazing. Nothing else can do that. Only awareness is aware of itself. Only awareness is aware. Nothing else is aware but awareness. And without awareness, nothing else is. So awareness is empty, it's lucid, and it also has a tremendous sense of love, compassion. A sense of goodness, well-being. That's why when you come into your true state as awareness, or spirit is another word for awareness, there is a sense of well-being, a great sense that all is well. There's a sense almost that everything is perfect, even though there's so many disasters happening. So there's a sense of wellness, well-being. Not only for oneself, but a well-being that spills over. Right? That's your innate goodness. It's your nature of a goodness or a well-being that spills over. That's what compassion is. That's what love is. It's connecting with a well-being of your own nature, a well-being that is upwelling, that spills over. That's what compassion is. That's what love is. So to recognize your nature is this awareness is actually the simplest thing. Which means it may or may not be easy. Right? This means simple. Depends how simple you are. How willing to be simple. To be egoically speaking, selfless. To let go of the tendency of the egoic self to do what it does. Everybody knows what their egoic self does. To do what it does. And even when you've awakened, there's still going to be a deeper and deeper and deeper opportunity to let go of the self doing what it does. That's the journey. You realize your true nature, but actually realizing your true nature is getting your foot in the door. Does that make sense? You realize your true nature. Those of you who've realized your true nature as awareness itself, you know what I'm talking about. Just because you realize yourself as awareness itself doesn't necessarily mean that ego immediately exits the premises. It may be mortally wounded, you know. Everyone is different in that regard. For some people, it's much more mortally wounded than others. For some people, they have a little awakening. It seems like their ego is just sort of nicked. So it reaches up and grabs center stage again and pushes everything off to the corner. And for some people, it's barely standing anymore. But letting go of that self, that egoic self, the blames, the judgments, the opinions, that's all egoic self stuff. There's no such thing as being enlightened and free and getting to hold on to all that stuff. It just doesn't work that way. You know? You can get a taste. You know, you can be a total bozo and get a taste of awakening. You know? A ding-dong can wake up to, oh, I see my true nature, right? You don't have, nothing's required. That's the nice thing about getting a good experiential glimpse of your true nature. The nice thing is that nothing's required. Absolutely nothing. Except stop trying so hard. Stop seeking for a moment, let it happen. But to actually be in that awake state, to actually be there and function there and move there, then it starts, then, you know, it's like I always think of like enlightenment or awakening is sort of like you know, one of those annoying door-to-door salesmen. Right? You begin the discussion, right? You just engage on the smallest level, and that's all they wanted. They got, and you know, the foot slips in the door, you know, and it's hard to get the damn foot back out of the door, you know. They Spirituality is kind of like that. The truth kind of slips its foot in, right? And it's like, oh, yes. Awakening costs nothing. Just turn around. Look at yourself as awareness itself. It's easy. It's a total shift of identity. You'll realize you're free. You always were free. You'll realize what the Buddha realized and what Jesus... You'll realize, for sure, it's easy. And then you do, and it's all true. And then you realize you've got this big foot in your door. And it's not pulling out. And it says, well, now that you've realized that, very, very good. Now, you know, all that little ego stuff, that's got to go. Try as you will, you just can't push that foot back out, you know. Which is fortunate, which is wonderful. Because at least then, there's no question, there is no doubt. When you let go of the egoic self, there's no doubt then what there is. What there is what you are. And what you are is about the most wonderful place you could fall back into. So at least you know that. You know that when you let go of the egoic self, what you're getting in exchange is the whole universe. You're getting all of existence in exchange.